On this episode, we discuss 8 very specific things about driving in Bangkok that really just rubbed me the wrong way.
So whether you drive a car in the city yourself or sit in the back and let others do it for you, you'll laugh at this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Bangkok in 2001 and remembers the days when you were as likely to get stuck behind an elephant on Siam Road as you were a bus. But thankfully, the elephant has been replaced with 5 more buses, all of them standing still.
Brutal. It's funny you mentioned that. I just showed a picture of me on, remember when we used to go to, what is it? Soy Sukhumvit 3/1. And we used to go eat Arab food. I guess that's like Little Arabia over there.
Yeah. We shared that picture on a previous podcast.
Oh, that's right. We mentioned. Yeah, my students were freaked out about that. And what I realized is, you and I have been here so long that a 20-year-old Thai, they might never have seen elephants on the street like we have.
It was a whole different environment, generational changes.
That's right. So we've been places, man. We've seen things.
God, yeah. I was freaked out. I think I mentioned it on the show when I realized that getting my son to watch The Goonies would be like me watching some movie for like some Fred Astaire film when I was his age. You know?
That's great.
It's crazy.
All right. I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a 1-year teaching contract over 25 years ago. Fell in love with learning all the visa rules so I can help out friends who want to visit, only to have to learn them again 6 months later. So I never left.
Yeah. Why go for consistency when you can keep people on their toes?
Yeah. There's nothing like changing rules like every few months. Okay. We want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind the scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about how proud Greg is to have placed his first geocache for someone to find, and how bummed he was to get a message that the first person who went searching for it couldn't find it.
No.
A few stray observations I had about multiculturalism in the U.S. after my recent trip, and a quick discussion about Khao San Road, which was almost completely empty when I was there the other day. Good news for Greg, who buys his freakishly large flip-flops there and won't have to worry about crowds when he heads out to buy a pair. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
You know, the good thing about buying freakishly large flip-flops down in a crowded area is you can just take one off and start swinging it, and the wind will knock people over.
That's right.
That's right. And don't forget, if you are oot and aboot in Bangkok and see a Bangkok podcast sticker, take a photo. Send us 3 pictures of 3 different stickers, and we will send you a pretty cool gift. And I was just out the other day, and I did a walk from my place in Thonburi to Siam Road to meet a friend for lunch. And I brought some stickers with me, and I placed them around Charing Krung and Lower Siam. So there you go.
Nothing like bragging about littering.
I consider it sort of civic improvement.
I see. Artistic improvement.
That's right. All right. Well, on this episode, we are inspired for a topic by my drive to work this morning. Now, normally this isn't too big of a deal and usually takes between 35 and 45 minutes, which isn't too bad, all things considered. I'll tell you, Ed, you talk to any parent and 45 minutes sitting alone in a car listening to the podcast of choice, that's a pretty sweet little break for most parents, I think.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But today, for no discernible reason, it took me over 90 minutes to get to work.
Damn.
Just one of them Bangkok traffic quirks. So as I was sitting there muttering under my breath, a thought occurred to me. I bet there's a show here, and bam, that's the glamorous life of a podcaster for you. So I thought about it for a while, and I came up with 8 very specific things about driving in Bangkok that really piss me off or confuse me. We're not talking about obvious large-scale issues like traffic jams or speeding motorcycles, but the smaller things that make no sense, they cause obvious problems but give no benefit, or otherwise just make driving here less safe and more annoying for the rest of us. Now, Ed, obviously, I drive a lot. I drive to work almost every day, but you don't drive a lot, but you have driven in Bangkok.
Yeah, I actually almost never drive now. So we've obviously discussed this before. You and I are diametrically opposed on things like Thai massages. We're opposed. we're opposed on the city of Pattaya and its inherent value. Uh-huh. But we're also opposed on driving in Bangkok. So the funny thing about this show, since you're going to talk about what you don't like about driving, is I can just sit here and go, yes, I'm just going to agree with it because I don't like to drive. So any complaint you have, I'm just going to say yes.
Well, it's a good thing that we're both heterosexual because opposites attract. I think you and I make pretty good partners.
I think we would. We probably would.
Well, I actually don't mind driving in Bangkok. And actually, I was talking to someone recently who said the same thing. I can't remember who it was, but it's, driving anywhere is never going to be completely stress-free. But I don't think driving in Bangkok is as bad as people make it out to be. This, of course, is coming on the tail of my first bumper fender bender that I had last week. But, that happens in every city around the world all the time. Not a huge deal. So generally, I don't mind driving in Bangkok, but there are a couple of like I said, very specific things that really, really grind my gears, to quote Peter Griffin. So, let me just go through them here, Ed, and we can discuss them. The first one is not so much like specific to Thailand and anything, but it is something that comes up a lot, and it does cause a lot of problems. And this would be ignoring the crosswalk. And this is sort of a much more broad topic than the rest of the items I have tonight. But we've seen this go from annoying to fatal and tragic too many times. So what I mean is drivers who just completely ignore zebra crossings and pedestrian crossings. And it basically makes pedestrians, it forces them to sort of sprint across the roads because you just never know. And yeah, this one is a more general one.
But how does that affect you as another driver?
Interesting point. I will get to that a bit later. It does tie into another point I have.
Okay.
But let's just stick to this one for now. So just the general sort of driver's etiquette where no one really gives a shit about crosswalks.
Gotcha.
It really makes me angry.
Gotcha.
So the second one I have is something that came to light, I guess recently, a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. And this is just ties into the general impatience and inconsiderateness of drivers in Bangkok, where they don't really think about what their actions will cause other drivers. They don't think of the knock-on effects. And this is going too far into an intersection when you know there's not enough room for you to cross the intersection.
Oh, so then it affects people coming in perpendicular.
Exactly. And of course, the big news story about this recently was that tragic story where the bus, went across the train tracks and
got trapped, right?
Switch out intersection for train tracks. But, this is one of the very first things I remember learning in driver's ed class in high school is, don't put yourself in a position where you're interrupting the other flow of traffic just to save yourself a couple of seconds. Like if there's no room for you in a place, don't try to squeeze yourself in, just wait. But I don't think people do that here. They just sort of, the hell with what other people are doing. I need to get across the intersection, so I'm going to go. And it has huge knock-on effects.
Well, this is a fascinating psychological question is Thai people outside of vehicles seem very concerned about how they're affecting other people. And the last thing they want to do is inconvenience someone or bother someone. So they seem to have this awareness socially, but then, so what's happening? So basically they get into a car and they become oblivious to like how they're affecting other people.
That's funny. Yeah. So they're in their human body. They're like, don't interrupt the flow around me. Keep the environment safe and clean. But in a car, it's like a shield.
That's an interesting thing. I wonder, This is, I'm sure there's been some sociology studies done on this, but it does seem that Thai people become, it's almost like there's a car culture in Thailand, and then there's a pedestrian culture. It's not the same.
Yeah, I think that hits the nail on the head. And this is particularly annoying too, because Bangkok traffic works in, like, if you hold up something here, it's not just there that you're holding it up. Like, Bangkok traffic has the high potential to get exponentially worse very quickly. So you park across a crosswalk, and then this car who's coming perpendicular to you, he can't make the light, which causes the lines behind him to back up. Like, it's got a huge knock-on effect, and it's really, really selfish.
I have to say, I would agree.
Yeah. All right. This next one is not so much actually for driving, but it is for parking. And so many times, especially at some of the more expensive malls, Paragon, Icon Siam, and stuff like that, they've got reserved, quote unquote, supercar parking.
Oh man, I've seen it. I've seen it, and I just object to it on principle.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm glad you can afford a Ferrari, brother, but you're not better than me. You don't get a better parking lot than me in a public space.
Yeah, they're usually parked right up near the entrance, and you're right. They are reserved. I wonder how that works. I wonder if I suppose if they're paying a premium for that, okay. I mean, it's still kind of crass, but whatever. But it almost seems as if you rolled in a supercar, they'd be like, "Oh, come to the front, sir." I wonder how that actually works.
No, you're right. And if it was like, to park here near the front of the door, that's 200 baht. Then okay, but that's not supercar parking. That's just premium parking. And
right.
If I could roll in with my Honda and pay 200 baht, then
right.
then it's equality, and I'm fine with that.
Well, it better not be 200. It better be like 2,000. You want to go up here? You want to go to the front of the line at Paragon? That's 2,000 baht.
Maybe the Honda spot is 200 baht, but like I also have seen a pretty broad spectrum of what supercar means. Like, I'll get it if there's a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, or like, some high-end Bentley or something. Sure. But I've seen like Land Rovers, Porsche, like, they're nice cars, but supercar?
Oh,
I don't know about that.
So now so now you're complaining about what counts like as like high so. You're like that's upper middle so. That's not high so.
Upper middle so, that's awesome. Yeah, and I wonder, like, is this something that you have to get out and negotiate with the guard? Like, you get out of your Porsche and he's like, Porsche is a little bit run down. Yeah, but I had the rare dashboard lights installed.
Yeah, so he's like, that's a Boxster. That's a Porsche Boxster. That doesn't count.
You're right. Yeah, but it's a limited edition one, so it's worth this much. Ooh, okay, so that you cross the line into supercars, so you're allowed to park here.
Well, this is a good example of kind of the niche world of people with money. And I've always noticed over the years that Thai people, they treat high so people almost like aliens. Like with my ex-wife, and sometimes with my students, they'll say something like, "Oh, that's high so," and what they mean is like, "Okay, that's another world."
Interesting.
Okay, those people are aliens. Like, different rules apply. Like that's just, it's like normal physics. That, like, normal physics doesn't apply. They're just yeah. So this is you're like on the outside looking in to the high so world. Yeah. You're like, how does this work? What are the rules? Like,
I'm upper middle so. I'm so close to you, but I won't. You can't let me through the velvet rope.
You're middle, dude. Don't say upper middle. Come on, you're pushing it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm middle so if I'm lucky. But there's a subcategory to this too, and this is extra infuriating if the parking lot is one of those places that has the automatic parking counters. So you see outside, it says like, "Ooh, there's 65 spaces left on the third floor. Great, I'll park on the third floor." You get up to the third floor and you're driving around, and like 64 of those free 65 spaces are empty, but they're roped off for supercars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, what's the point in investing 5 million baht in this automated parking system if you're just going to defeat it by putting up a bunch of little, traffic cones?
Agreed. It looks crass. It's just, to me, it's obviously the cars are cool, but it just looks crass when it's just, these premium spaces and, when you waited in line, to get into the parking garage and then you go up front and it's just like specially reserved spots for like the important people.
It's my petty little thing to learn Thai well enough one day so that when someone comes out to their like low end Porsche, I'll be like, excuse me, how do you define supercar? Because I'm really curious to know what makes you think you can park next to that Lamborghini.
That's great.
All right, this next one is interesting actually, and it caught me off guard. And it was a question posed for me by my friend Todd in Canada. And he said to me one day, he goes, why can't Thai people make tight left turns? Why do they always drift into the outside lane when they make a left turn onto the road?
Oh, this is interesting. I mean, I've never noticed that. But I have driven. I have a driver's license, but I just don't drive and know. So this is something I'm unaware of.
Right. So I had the same thought. I was like, I don't think they do really, and I'd never noticed it. And this was several months ago. He asked me this question. So over the ensuing months, I started to notice it. Almost every left turn onto another road in Thailand, they swing way out into the next lane. Into the second lane of that road.
That's sloppy. That's some sloppy driving.
It's sloppy. And again, that's another thing that I learned as a basic student in driver's ed. When you turn, hug the curb, stay in your lane,
Stay in your lane. That's a good life advice.
Stay in your lane, especially in a traffic situation where there's motorcycles flying in between lanes. There's like lane splitting and stuff. So I was really starting to notice it. Why is this like, why can't they just turn normally like normal people? So
basically your observation confirmed this idea.
Yes. But then there was a realization, and I was driving one day and I turned left and I did a wide turn and I went into the other lane.
It's very brave of you to admit this in public.
Well, I caught myself and I was like, hang on a second. Why did I do that? And I thought about it and I realized that most of the time when I do that, at least in this particular incident, it was because when I turn left at this particular intersection, it's a blind corner.
Oh,
and
right.
A lot of times there might be a police stop there or someone running across the road out of a crosswalk because jaywalking here is so common.
So you're being careful. In a way, you're being careful.
I did a wide turn on that particular corner because I was just being extra careful, giving myself a little bit of extra room to notice if something was there so I didn't turn too sharply and smash right into them.
Ah, I see. So maybe the wide left turn is not so bad after all.
Maybe not. It was totally subconscious. I didn't think about it and didn't plan it until after I was done. I was like, hang on, why did I do that? So it's almost like a defensive driving technique.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, so there you go. If you see wide left turns, maybe that's why. The next one thing that really bugs me is that, you're driving on Thailand's highways and every country has selfish drivers or speedy drivers or unsafe drivers who, zoom in and out of lanes and just do all they can to get like one car length ahead and save themselves, 2 seconds off the total time of their trip. But more often than not, I think if you're going to see driving behavior like that, it's going to be from one of these jacked up, caged with pickup trucks with the cage on the back.
Oh, yeah,
hauling furniture and stuff.
Yeah. There's tons of those pickup trucks all over the place. Yeah.
And almost all the time, they've got jacked up back wheels that are wider than they need to be.
Oh, right.
For some,
I wonder what. I never
soup up.
Yeah, I wonder if we could find a picture of those. I don't know. That is an interesting little subculture. I guess they're laborers or delivery guys. Like I don't exactly know the story with those types of trucks or those people. But you're right. That is the thing.
I think you're right. They're probably either moving furniture or delivering stuff or blue collar workers who are on their way to do some painting or landscaping or something like that, which is fine. But, maybe these guys are, if they're delivery drivers, then of course, the more deliveries they make, the more money they make. So there's a time element involved. But I just found that almost every one of these trucks you see, they're pickup trucks with the cages on the back, sometimes covered, sometimes not. almost all of them drive pretty dangerously. And I hate being behind them because you can't see in front of them. And if they have to slam on their brakes, then I got to slam on my brakes. So I try to keep away from them.
Brutal. Probably a good idea.
Yeah. The next one. And this is something that, again, this is one of the first things I learned in driver's ed. And I don't know if ties even, I don't remember learning about this in any of the courses or the materials when I was getting my driver's license here. But a lot of ties, when they go through a 4- or 3-way intersection, slowly, like not flying through it or something like that, but if there's sort of a low speed pass through an intersection, a lot of ties will put on their hazard blinkers.
I have seen this. I feel that ties use their hazard lights more than Westerners do.
Totally. Now, a lot of times, ties will put on their hazard blinkers when they're coming to a stop that might be more sudden than normal, which I guess is okay. I think that's kind of what brake lights are for.
Right.
But when you're going through an intersection, the reason this is specifically illegal, at least in Canada, when I was learning how to drive, maybe they changed the rules now, who knows? But the reason this is specifically illegal is because if you're to the right or to the left of a car who's going in front of you and they put on their hazard lights, if you're on the right, you're not going to see the left one. So you're going to think their right turn signal is on and they're turning right.
Oh, I see. Oh, interesting. Yeah. That makes sense.
And if you're on the left, you're only going to see the left one and think they're turning left. So it causes confusion and unpredictability for their traffic crossing. So, I don't think this is ever taught to them.
Maybe this is not part of Thai driver's ed.
I've never experienced it or read about it here, not that I was looking for it. But I specifically remember learning that in my driver's ed class is that anything that causes potential confusion to the drivers around you, you don't do it. So.
Yeah, interesting. So this is a little bit of a like deep driver etiquette, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one is, we've all seen the ads. I mean, maybe you haven't seen them, but I saw them, and it was a picture of an interior of a BMW, and the turn signal had cobwebs all over it.
Oh, really?
Like, yes, it was like BMW drivers don't use their turn signals.
That's so funny.
So there is this, like you said, there's this car culture, and there's always entitled drivers, and they have expensive cars, and they think that they're better, and they blah 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 blah. But there's another element to this, and along with those pickup trucks that dart in and out of traffic, if you're going to see a driver who doesn't use their turn signals and drives pretty sort of inconsiderately not thinking about the people around them, it's going to be the drivers who have a unique license plate. And I think we all know about the rarity of a license plate is sort of a prestige thing.
Sure.
There's like a double level. So not only do you have a BMW, you can also afford a license plate that's like gaw gaw cow or something like that, like a small number or a unique number, like gaw gaw ho ho gaw.
So they're shoving it in your face, man. They're like they're superior. They're basically shoving their social superiority in your face.
Kind of like it's not only is it enough that you're driving a BMW and you can afford that and I can't and you don't have to turn on your blinkers, but you've got this personalized, this special license plate that was probably bought at auction for 4 million baht.
This is high-so virtue signaling, and it annoys you.
That's exactly it. It's high-so virtue signaling. Yes. So I think if you're going to see an inconsiderate driver, the chances are high that they're probably going to have one of these expensive, rare license plates.
That's funny. That's great.
Sort of like the Thai version of a personalized license plate. You see someone who says
That's right.
like CHRPCTR. You're like, ooh, chiropractor coming through. But here it's kind of a different level. And the last one here is sort of more of a criticism of the whole system in Bangkok. And I was out for a meal with our friend Scott the other day, and he was saying how he was driving his scooter and he was coming up to a crosswalk and he went to slow down because there was people waiting, but he realized if he slowed down for the people waiting to cross the crosswalk, at that particular moment, he sort of did a quick vibe check around him, and he realized that he would probably get hit from behind.
Oh, he'd be rear-ended. If he slowed down, he'd be rear-ended. Oh, wow.
Right. So no one else was stopping. And this is the final point, is that if you drive in Bangkok and obey all the rules, you'll probably kill someone or be killed yourself.
Oh, geez. No, this is rough. I mean, this is kind of a deep cut because it ties into all the stuff we've talked about before about how this is not it's not like a rule of law society. It is like so that we're transferring all this stuff to like the road where the actual rules on the road are not how Thai people actually behave.
Right. And we always say like, oh, this would be so better if people were just like, if laws were enforced, if people just were more considerate, if they followed the rules. But, it's nice to say all that. But I think in certainly some situations, if you followed the letter of the law, it would probably create situations that were more dangerous than if you didn't.
So what's the lesson then? So the takeaway is you need to know what the rules are, but then you need some type of like street savvy to know when to apply them or how literally to apply them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think you have to know the rules, but they also have to be applied based on the situation that you are in right now. So you're like, I should stop at the crosswalk and let all these people across. But then you got to do like a split second check. Is that going to cause more problems than it solves?
That's rough. Yeah.
So driving, it's almost like an improv skill, driving in Bangkok. Like you gotta.
Well, all of this adds up to me thinking I'm right, and I don't. this is why all these you just basically spoke for me why I don't like to drive in Bangkok.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't mind it, but there are just these little things that, like, why are they doing that? Come on, man. Like, what you save 12 seconds on your commute? Like, ooh, big deal. Way to inconvenience the rest of us. And I just wish people were more magnanimous and considerate of the drivers around them. I think that would go a long way to not only making things safer, but just lowering the temperature of people who are frustrated.
For sure. But the bottom line is, all things considered, you still enjoy driving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it at all. It's my own little environment. And once you learn the rules of the road, and again, realize that your adherence to the law needs to sort of shift depending on the situation, then I think you just kind of, it's very much you got to do what everyone else is doing sort of driving culture.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there we go. That's my eight things that specifically pissed me off about driving in Bangkok. And it's probably a lot more out there. Listeners, if you have any more specifics that really bother you, let us know. If we come up with another 8 or 9, we can maybe do another show later.
Well, that's some good insider stuff. I mean, I just don't, I'm happy not to drive enough to know all the stuff you talked about.
Ignorance is bliss, right?
That's right.
Cool. All right, let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with no matter how we feel about it. And this week, I got something to throw at you, Ed.
Okay, cool. Let's hear it.
Now, this isn't, this is nothing specific to Thailand, but I see it here a lot, and I saw it here tonight at dinner with my wife's friend. And what is your feeling when someone pulls out their phone and the case they have is so ridiculously big or oversized or blinged out that it becomes like, you look at it and go, why do you have that? That triples the weight of your phone, makes it 3 times bigger than it is, and looks dumb. What's the point? This really bothers me.
This is funny because I'm a loathe. So we're like, as soon as you started talking about this, I was thinking, I know exactly what you're going to say. Okay, we got to be careful about generalizing. It's not that all Thai people are into huge cases, but I do think it is kind of a thing. It is a thing to have sophisticated, like you said, they're either thick, heavy, or as you put it, blinged out. And I've never gotten it. Like I have a buddy of mine who refuses to put a case on his phone. And his thing is, hey, I spent all this money on a phone. I want the original feel of it.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I'm not quite that hardcore, but I always get like a just very basic thin case just to protect my phone from like bumps and scratches.
Same, yeah.
That's my thing. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, okay, maybe some people who have thick cases, they're particularly worried about drops, but it's not just thickness. They're just kind of bizarre. It's just like, it's almost like it has contraptions, and it's got like accoutrement. It's got accoutrements on it.
Yeah, my wife's friend tonight, she pulled out a thing, and it had like a little goblin statue, like climbing over the back of it, peeking over her phone. and then like on the sides of it had like chains hanging down, and then off the bottom it had a leather strap about 3 inches long with a ring on the end, and that had keys hanging off it. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, that's funny. You're right. There is a phone case culture in Thailand. Maybe it's also true in all of Asia, but I don't think it's an American thing. So I'm with you. I don't get it. Obviously, I don't care that much, but I would put myself in the loathe category.
Yeah, I agree. If someone wants to carry around an extra 3 pounds of plastic, go nuts. But I think it's really silly, and I loathe it. I'd love to see if anyone ever did sort of like a psychoanalysis of the people. What else does this say about your personality?
That's great. All right. A final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages. Unless, of course, you're a PR agent who pitches clients who have no connection to Bangkok.
That's right. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. Send us a voicemail through our website. We'll feature that on the show. Hit me up on Blue Sky. I'm BKK Greg. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'll see you back here next week.
For sure.